Okay, hello everyone. This is Professor Mo. I'm going to record another video for project number 2, student project number 2, using Creo Parametric. And this solid model is going to be on L-shaped bracket, or we call it the support. Okay, let's get started. And we start with a new, I'm going to call this model support or L-shaped bracket. Okay, L-shaped bracket. Okay, bracket. All right, let's get going in here. All right, so all right, we're gonna go to, as usual, we go to extrude, placement, define. At this point, we're just gonna pause a little bit. Let me just explain a little bit, okay? For each time you're creating a solid model, make sure you think, you have to prepare yourself and think in a logical order, and say, I want to place or start my base feature on one of the planes, whether it is the frontal plane or on the right plane or the top plane. So this is something you have to figure out which plane you wanted to place the first feature. Then, especially we call it the base feature. So for this assignment, or for this solid model, we're going to place it on the profile plane or right datum plane. So I'm going to click on this one. Then you have to be very careful here. Here automatically the top reference is selected. You need to change from orientation to top as well. Okay, it has to match top. Okay, great. Let's continue. All right, and then we go to sketch view and get rid of all this display, and then we don't need really the center line, because I'm going to create the line from here. So that's 40. Okay, the dimension is 40. It's a square, so it's going to be 40 by 40. Okay, 40 by 40. And all right, so let's just create a, make sure that you see this constraint called vertical and horizontal for horizontal lines, so make sure that is there. And then we have the thickness, and then go down. It has to be vertical and it's not perpendicular. Make sure it's vertical. Okay, and then we go all the way to the left, and then come back to original position, and you see the shade. That means we got the L shape. So far so good. Correctly we have created. Now we have to give some dimensions so that we can convert all the weak dimension to a strong dimension. Okay, and that is something that we must do, that because we cannot just create a solid model having some weak dimensions in here. Okay, so this thickness is 5, and similarly, and this thickness should be 5. Okay, now everything is perfect, no more weak dimension, and we are going to extrude that, and that extrude should be 40 as well. So everything is 40 by 40. Okay, so 40, and then hold the middle mouse and then rotate them. Okay, and then you go to make sure that you see everything in 3D. Okay, in 3D, and then you go back to here and you say in both direction. You want to extrude in both direction. Okay, so, or in SolidWorks we call it the extrude in mid plane. Okay, that's a mid plane. So we go check. Now we can add a fillet radius or round. The exterior corner is going to have a radius of 6.25. okay, normally when we put the fillet radius, it's going to help the strength of the part. It's going to add to a strength and toughness of the materials if the materials is going to be used under cyclic loading due to fatigue. You know, the part is going to fail, so the life of the part will be longer. It's going to be in service for a longer period of time if we add some fillet radii or finished surface and all that. That will help in design when you're designing parts. Okay, so that's 6.25, and we say we are happy. And then we need to give an interior fillet, which is half of the exterior. So we say 6.25 divided by 2, and that is 6.25 divided by 2, and that's 3.13. Okay, so that's a interior fillet. External fillet and internal fillet, those are nicely done. Okay, we have that beautifully. So next we're gonna place 2 holes in here. Okay, let's just continue. Extrude, placement, define. We click on this surface, and that will be the we're looking at you know, the line of sight is perpendicular to this plane. Let me just change from shade to no shade. So we wanted to give dimension which will be in the with respect to this edge and with respect to this edge. So I don't need to put any more reference line on this side. Okay, so I'm going to create 2 holes, an arbitrary location to begin with, and now we can just have a equal radii. So this dimension here should be 15. You're going to bring it out and you give 15, and then this dimension is, okay, that dimension should be 10. Enter 10, and the dimension from the center to center. Okay, that's important because in a machine shop the machinist would like to know what the dimension is between center and the center of the hole, and that is about 20. Okay, 20. All right, and then the diameter, since both circles have the same radius, when we give the diameter it's going to affect both of them. Okay, so that will be a diameter of 5. Oops, diameter of 5. There we go. Okay, so everything is ready to go. Let me just change back to shading, and we have placed the 2 holes on that surface here. When we look at it from the top view, that's how we see it, and then we say check, and automatically by default is sticking out. This hole is looks like a cylinder, so we're gonna reverse the arrow, and then we go to, because this hole, see that is, we can just go like this or go like that, so we can pull it down and pull it up. So we poke the hole through it. See that it's not a good idea to leave it like that because it's showing some, you know, extending the hole through air. There's a thin air. So in order to avoid these numbers here, all you have to do is go here to extrude to intersect with all surfaces. Okay, extrude, so that number will disappear. Okay, beautiful. And then we say check. And the last thing we have to do is we have to poke a hole on this face, and that's where the shoulder screw is going to be placed on this face. So we go extrude, placement, define, click on that surface, and then we go with sketch view and no shade. And if I wanted to give the dimension with respect to this reference, okay, that reference, okay, great. And then we have 1 hole. Okay, we're gonna just place 1 hole on the front view, and that hole is supposed to be diameter of 10. Okay, diameter of 10, and this dimension here is 15, and the dimension given here should be 20. So that we can locate exactly where this hole is positioned on that plate or that face or this materials that we are going to use. So that's a correct position of this hole, and the diameter and x, y dimension. Okay, x and y dimension, x and y dimension with respect to the dead center of the hole. Okay, so let's just change that to shade, and we know it's right there, and then we say check, and then we can reverse the arrow, and then we say intersect with all surface, and we are done. Do you want to really cancel? Okay, so everything is good to go. Next is to create, or maybe if you are interested on render, we can render it. Maybe I'm going to make the top, all the top surfaces red, and then I'm gonna make and the green will be the right face, And then the front face, we're gonna use maybe yellow. Okay, control, and that's it. We can check it to make sure that we have it right, okay, in terms of orientation. Front and top and right side. Okay, beautiful. So we are done, and we can just save it if you want. Okay, it says save as. Save a copy to I'm gonna save it to project number 2, and we call it a support. I already have one called support, and I call it L-shaped bracket. Either or, it doesn't make any difference. Okay, so